You're gonna die out here.
I'm fine.
No, you're freezing. What's your name?
Amara.
Come with us.
The suitcase slammed into the snow first. Then Amara. Pain shot through her shoulder as she hit the frozen pavement beside the empty roadside bus stop. Snow whipped violently through the night, while the car's headlights burned against her face. "Please," she cried, stumbling after the vehicle. "It's Christmas Eve." Her stepfather rolled down the window just enough for his cold glare to show. "You should have thought about that before becoming a burden." "I'm trying to finish school." "With whose money?" he snapped. "Your mother died and left me with you. I'm done." The words hit harder than the freezing wind. Amara's lips trembled. "Please, just let me stay until morning. Freeze for all I care." The car sped away. Its red taillights vanished into the snowstorm. Silence swallowed her whole. For a long moment, she simply stood there shaking beside her broken suitcase while icy wind cut through her thin coat. Her phone battery died in her hand seconds later. "No," she whispered weakly. Darkness. No signal. No warmth. No one coming back. A tear slid down her cheek before instantly turning cold. Then headlights appeared through the storm. 3 black luxury sedans emerged from the snow like shadows. Amara immediately backed away. The middle vehicle stopped beside her. A tall Korean man stepped out holding a black umbrella. His expression remained unreadable as he looked her over. "You're going to die out here," he said calmly. Amara hugged herself tighter. "I'm fine." "No," he replied. "You're freezing." His gaze dropped to the bruises on her wrist. "What's your name?" "Amara." "Choi Min-sik." He gestured toward the sedan. "My employer dislikes unnecessary corpses near his route." Amara frowned nervously. "That's supposed to make me feel safer?" "Not particularly." He opened the rear door. Inside sat a man dressed entirely in black. Dark suit. Sharp features. Still posture. His eyes met hers. And somehow that was worse than the cold. There was no emotion in them. Only control. Amara's instincts screamed at her to run. But the freezing wind nearly knocked her sideways. The man inside finally spoke. "Getting into this car is dangerous." His voice was calm, deep, precise.
But remaining here is certain death.
Amara swallowed hard. "What happens if I refuse?" The man stared at her for another second. "Then you die cold instead of afraid." Silence. Snow fell heavily around them. Amara slowly climbed inside. Warm air wrapped around her instantly. The door shut. The convoy drove into the storm. For several minutes nobody spoke. Amara sat stiffly beside the stranger while trying not to visibly shake. Without warning, the man removed his expensive black coat and handed it to her. She hesitated. "It's not poisoned," he said flatly. Amara slowly took it. The warmth nearly made her cry. "Thank you." The man leaned back slightly. Seo Taegun. The name meant nothing to her. At least not yet. By the time they entered Seoul, Amara had fallen asleep against the window. When she woke again, the car was ascending a private underground parking structure. 2 armed guards opened secured gates ahead. Amara immediately straightened. "What is this place?" Nobody answered. The elevator required fingerprint scans before finally opening into a massive penthouse overlooking Seoul's skyline. Floor-to-ceiling windows stretched across the entire living room. The city glittered beneath falling snow. Beautiful, cold, untouchable. Amara stepped carefully inside, then noticed the guards, the hidden cameras, the locked doors. Fear returned immediately. Taegun removed his gloves calmly. "You'll stay here tonight." Amara turned sharply. "I never agreed to that. You were half-conscious from hypothermia. That doesn't mean you own me." For the first time, something almost amused flickered in Taegun's eyes. "No," he replied softly. "If I owned you, this conversation would sound very different." Min-sik tried hiding a smile. Taegun glanced toward him instantly. The smile vanished. Amara noticed that. Everyone here feared him. A woman arrived moments later with clean clothes and food. Amara stared suspiciously. "What do you actually want from me?" Taegun loosened his watch slowly. "Nothing. People like you always want something. And people like me?" Amara looked around the penthouse. The kind with armed guards and fingerprint scanners. Taegun walked toward the massive windows overlooking the Han River. "Sleep first," he said quietly. "You can fear me properly tomorrow." That should not have made her laugh. But somehow it did. Very slightly. Taegun noticed. And for one brief second, so did he. The next morning, Amara woke inside a luxurious guest room bigger than her old apartment. New clothes had been folded neatly beside the bed. Her damaged laptop sat repaired on the desk. A new phone rested beside it. She immediately frowned. A trap. This had to be a trap. She walked into the main living area cautiously. Taegun sat reading documents near the windows while Minsik stood nearby. The atmosphere felt painfully tense. The shipment was attacked near Busan, Minsik said quietly. Losses? Taegun asked. 7 men injured. 2 dead. Taegun's expression never changed. And Kong Dojin? We still can't locate him. The room fell silent. Minsik noticed Amara first. She's awake. Taegun looked toward her. Eat. Amara crossed her arms immediately. I want to leave. No. The answer came instantly. You can't keep me here. I can't. Something dangerous settled into the silence. Amara stepped closer. You don't scare me. Minsik looked genuinely concerned for her survival. Taegun slowly stood. Now Amara realized how tall he actually was. How controlled. How terrifyingly calm. You were seen entering my convoy last night, he said. My enemies now see you as connected to me. I'm not. That distinction will not matter to them. Amara's jaw tightened. So I'm a prisoner. Protection and imprisonment often look the same from the inside. The words irritated her because part of her knew he was right. Days passed. Amara remained trapped between luxury and fear. Yet Taegun confused her constantly. He noticed everything. When she avoided eating, her favorite foods appeared later. When nightmares woke her, hot tea quietly appeared outside her room. When she complained about boredom, architecture books magically showed up in the library. But emotionally, he stayed distant. Cold. Untouchable. One evening Amara finally confronted him. Why help me? Taegun didn't look up from his whiskey glass. You needed help. That's not enough reason for someone like you. He finally met her eyes. Someone like me? Amara hesitated. You're dangerous. A faint smile touched his lips. That answer is smarter than pretending otherwise. Before she could reply, alarms suddenly exploded throughout the penthouse. Red emergency lights flooded the room. Minsik grabbed his gun instantly. Attackers. Gunfire erupted downstairs. Glass shattered violently. Amara flinched as security guards rushed through the hallway. Taegun's entire demeanor changed in seconds. Cold became lethal. He pulled a handgun from beneath the table. Stay in your room, he ordered. No. Now. More gunshots exploded. Screams echoed below. Amara's heartbeat slammed violently against her ribs. She locked herself inside the guest room. Then another explosion shook the building. The lights flickered. Smoke drifted beneath the door. Fear swallowed her whole. Someone suddenly crashed against the hallway wall outside. A gunshot followed. Then silence. Amara slowly opened the door. Her breath caught instantly. Taegun was leaning against the wall, bleeding heavily from his side. A dead attacker lay nearby. Blood stained the white marble floor beneath him. Taegun. He looked up slowly, breathing unevenly. You were told to stay inside. You're bleeding. I noticed. Amara rushed toward him. Her hands trembled violently as she pressed against the wound. There's too much blood. Taegun grabbed her wrist weakly. Listen carefully. No. His eyes narrowed slightly. That wasn't a request. You're not dying while giving orders. Another gunshot echoed downstairs. Amara dragged him into a nearby office and locked the door. Taegun's breathing worsened. Medical kit, he muttered. She found one beneath a cabinet. Her hands shook while cutting through the blood-soaked fabric near his wound. Bullet passed through, she whispered. Good. You could have died. Taegun looked at her quietly. I still might. No. Amara pressed harder against the wound. You don't get to save me and then die 5 days later. For the first time, genuine emotion flickered across his face. Pain. Exhaustion. Something deeper. His eyes unfocused briefly. Yeren. Amara froze. Who? But Taegun had already slipped partially unconscious. Minutes later, Minsik finally broke into the office. The attackers are down. He stopped after seeing Taegun covered in blood. For the first time since meeting him, Minsik looked terrified. The following morning, Seoul woke to news reports of an electrical fire at a luxury penthouse. No mention of gunmen. No mention of bodies. Amara sat quietly beside Taegun's bed while snow fell outside the windows. His eyes slowly opened. You stayed. Amara looked away quickly. You lost a dangerous amount of blood. Taegun studied her silently. Most people are afraid of me. You think I'm not? Are you? Amara hesitated. Yes. Taegun nodded once. That's probably wise. Days later, Taegun began teaching her how to survive. How to spot hidden exits. How to read threatening behavior. How to stay calm under pressure. You observe before reacting, he told her during one lesson. Fear makes people predictable. Amara crossed her arms. You sound like a serial killer. Minsik nearly choked trying not to laugh. Taegun stared at her. Then unexpectedly, a quiet laugh escaped him too. The room went silent. Even Taegun seemed surprised by it. That same night, another message arrived from Kang Dojin. A hostage situation. An upscale restaurant in Itaewon rigged with explosives. Taegun prepared immediately. I'm ending this tonight. Amara noticed blueprints spread across the table. Her eyes narrowed. There's an old maintenance tunnel here. Minsik blinked. What? She pointed carefully. This district was rebuilt years ago over older utility systems. The tunnel connects beneath the restaurant. Taegun looked at her. You're certain? Yes. You're staying here. No chance. Amara, you saved my life first. Their eyes locked. Let me help save theirs. Hours later, they moved through freezing underground tunnels beneath Itaewon. Water dripped from rusted pipes overhead. Distant voices echoed above them. Amara's breathing stayed uneven. Taegun noticed immediately. Afraid? Yes. Good, he replied quietly. Fear keeps you alive. They entered the restaurant basement silently. Hostages cried upstairs. Armed men patrolled nearby. Amara slipped toward the generator controls while Taegun's team prepared weapons. One guard suddenly appeared around the corner. Amara froze. The man narrowed his eyes. Before he could speak, Taegun appeared behind him instantly. One movement. One gunshot. The body collapsed. Amara stared in shock. Taegun grabbed her chin gently. Look at me. She did. Breathe. The lights suddenly died as she disabled the generators. Darkness swallowed the building. Chaos erupted. Gunfire exploded everywhere. Screams echoed upstairs. Taegun moved through the darkness like something terrifyingly inhuman. Precise. Calm. Deadly. By the time police sirens surrounded the building, Kang Dojin was bleeding beside shattered glass near the rooftop exit. You protect her because you failed your sister, Dojin spat. Taegun nearly shot him point blank. Amara grabbed his wrist. Don't. He deserves worse. And if you kill him now, she whispered, what happens to what's left of you? Silence. Taegun slowly lowered the gun. Police stormed the rooftop seconds later. Dawn approached by the time they returned to the penthouse. Snow still fell softly across Seoul. Amara stood near the windows holding her packed suitcase again. Taegun remained behind her silently. If I leave, she asked quietly, would you stop me? Long silence. Finally. No. Amara turned slowly. Taegun's expression remained calm, but his eyes said something different now. Something dangerously human. But the world outside this place, he said softly, will never feel the same again. Amara looked toward the snowy city below, then back at him. For the first time in years, someone had protected her without demanding ownership in return. Someone dangerous, broken, lonely, just like her. Slowly, she set the suitcase down. Taegun stared at it, then at her. A small breath escaped him. Relief. Amara stepped beside him at the window overlooking Seoul. Neither spoke. They simply stood together while the first sunrise of the new year broke across the city skyline. And for the first time in a very long time, neither of them felt alone. The end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Would you have gotten into Taegun's car that night? Or stayed in the snow?